Hello everybody, this is Jeff, the Hawaiian Brokenic. Hey gang, welcome back to the channel. Today's project, we'll be replacing the passenger side CV axle. So this is a fairly new CV axle. It's not even a year old, and the boot has already separated from where it's crimped. The danger in this is dust, water, moisture gets all up in there and does damage to the moving parts. Now they do make rebuild kits, boot rebuild kits. I might make a video on that a little bit later, but in this project, we're just going to go ahead and replace the entire axle. So you guys are probably wondering, why did the CV axle only last a year? Well, you know, that's one of the pitfalls of having a lifted truck. The driveline angles can be pretty steep. Now this is a Cognito 12-inch lift, 10 to 12-inch lift, and so to attain the additional 2 inches, what you do is you crank up the shocks to give you the additional height, and then when you do that, you change your driveline angles, you know, beyond what is recommended. Now, my truck is cranked up 2 inches, but even just a slight variation in angles, just a degree or two, it will cause undue stress on these CV boots, causing it to wear down way quicker. Now, you know, less than a year is pretty quick, but then again, this is not a street queen, and it's not a show truck. So when I'm towing or when I go off-roading up north, you know, I put these CV axles to the test. I run them pretty rough for the most part. So yeah, so that's the reason why. And I've changed these, maybe this is probably the third axle, I think, that I'll be changing out in the last 3 years, at least once a year. Thankfully, these things don't cost a fortune. You know, they're about, you know, a couple of $100. You can probably find a generic set probably for about 150 each. They're not very difficult to change out. But for those of you that want to tackle this project, you know, I'm just going to go through the basic steps. Now, this is going to be the same for most pickup trucks that have independent suspension. So if you pay close attention, it's pretty much the same, whether it's a lifted truck or a stock truck. Okay, so this CV axle is from AutoZone. It's Duralast, part number 16183N. Now this is for a 2015 to 2016 Chevy Silverado. The nice thing about these things is that these have the hub nut already included. Now, if you guys are, you know, switching out axles and they don't come with a nut, you best go get one. It's recommended that you don't like swap these out. Like, when I say swap these out, don't interchange them. If you got an old axle nut, you don't want to use the old one. They should come with a brand new one. So first thing you want to do is inspect it to make sure that the axle itself doesn't have any holes or anything like that, because that would be a bummer. Yep, so pretty straightforward. You're going to just kind of inspect it to make sure that these things aren't flimsy or floppy. You know, they're meant to be a little bit firm, you know, on either end for the most part. You inspect the crimp parts to make sure that none of it's, you know, cut, there's any holes or anything like that. It looks fairly good. So this is what we got to work with. This installation is not very difficult at all. Okay, so this is for my 2015 Chevy Silverado. Now, if you have a pickup truck that has front independent suspension, and the process will be the same. There are going to be a few parts, a part or two that you may have to move out of the way. In my case, it's going to be the sway bar links. They're attached to the lower control arms. They're going to have to be loosened and moved out of the way in order for me to wiggle out the old axle. So I'll leave a link in the description below with the parts I used and any other tools that you may need for this project. So with that said, let's start mechanicking. Okay, so the axle is out, and as you guys saw a little bit earlier, I kind of disconnected the sway bar link there, and that's just to provide some room for the outer CV axle boot to fit between the shock and the sway bar link there. So just further inspection here. Little bit of dust, dirt, debris, maybe some rust in there. So I'll probably take like a toothbrush and some WD-40 just to kind of clean out the splines just a bit for the new axle to slip in seamlessly. So now that we got the axle out, probably a good time to kind of inspect the axle itself, the boot and everything, the condition. So we know that this completely broke away. But upon further inspection, you can start to see like these micro cracks between the recesses here of the CV boot. But the cracks are noticeable on these peaks right here. As I lift up the axle, you start to see it. Look at that. So this axle is in need of replacement. I mean, those would have eventually come apart. Now, again, this axle is less than a year old, so maybe it's just poor workmanship. But thankfully, we're putting a brand new one in, and we'll see how the new one, or how long the new one will last. All right, gang. Well, that was painless. As you folks saw, it's relatively easy. For the Chevy Silverados, the torque specs are 58 foot-pounds for the where the inner boot is at, towards the differential, the flange. There's 58 foot-pounds, and then the axle nut, the hub nut, for this Silverado is 188 foot-pounds. So, and that's pretty much it. I didn't need to jack up the truck or take off the tires and all that stuff. It's a pretty straightforward installation, and the things you need to keep an eye out for is where the splines are at the hub. Just be sure that you clean it out so there's no debris. If there's like rust in there, then it's only going to promote more rust, and probably cause you more issues down in the future if you ever need to replace the axle again. So hope you guys got a little bit of something out of the content. If you guys like the content, please like and subscribe. Hit that thumbs up button. I have a couple more projects coming up here in the next few weeks here, and a couple of reviews. So yeah, with that said, we'll see you guys in the next one. This is your Hawaiian Volcanic. Aloha.